So friends, brush up your interview skills. Acing an interview is a science as much as it is an art, one that requires diligent preparation along with the ability to be at ease in the interview room, comfortable and confident in discussing why you are the best fit for a role. Interviewing is a skill in and of itself in which your ability to interact with the interviewer and articulate your thoughts are just as important factors in getting the job as the qualification listed on your resume. Preparation is important. Not only will your interviewer see right thought it, but your answers and your self-confidence will seriously suffer if you neglect to properly prepare. You should dedicate an hour at the minimum to your preparation. So friends, now I'll discuss about the 60-minute preparation exercise. So, starting 5 minutes, rereading and analyzing the job description. Focusing on the essential requirements and responsibilities in order to tailor your answers to focus on the most important aspects of the job. 5 minutes, rereading your resume and cover letters to review how you pitch yourself in the first place. 15 minutes researching potential interview questions specific to the position and the industry. 20 minutes practicing answers to these questions and recalling specific examples from your work experience, such as the major accomplishments, challenges, or milestones that will serve as stories to strengthen your responses to situational and behavioral based interview questions. 15 minutes researching the company, looking into their history, mission, and values and recent projects. Indeed, practice makes perfect. In addition to practice these steps on your own, ask a friend or family member to pose an interviewer so you can get used to answering these questions. Do you think punctuality is important for you? If you're not, then this is for you. There are very few excuses that will redeem a late arrival. Do whatever you need to do to get there 10 to 15 minutes in advance of your interview time. Whether it's planning your outfit and packing your bag the night before, setting 5 alarms, or asking a friend to give you a wake-up call, or leaving extra early to account for potential transportation obstacles. Another tip is that thinking before you speak. A well-thought answer is always better than a rushed one. Of course, you don't want to sit there in silence for 5 minutes as you come up with an answer, but it is acceptable to take several seconds to think before you speak. Avoid the arms, offs, and buy yourself time by repeating the interview question back to them or using a phrase like, "That's an interesting question. I was actually just thinking about that when I read an article on a similar topic," and so on. If you are really stumped, you can say, "What a great question. I have actually never been asked this before. Let me just take a second to think about this." You can. Finally, know what to do if you really can't answer a question. Friends, speaking clearly, cohesively, and calmly. Nerves can get you taking a mile a minute, and so can the simple desire to convey as much valuable information about yourself as possible. However, taking too fast can make you look rushed, nervous, or anxious. Make a conscious effort to slow down and speak calmly and clearly. It will help you avoid interview stress. Although you should be willing, not able to promote yourself, your experience and accomplishments can. Make sure you don't come across as arrogant, egoistic, or self important. No matter how good you are at your job, you are going to run into countless obstacles if you lack the emotional intelligence to work on a team and get along with managers, coworkers, or clients. Focus on showing a kind and balanced sense of confidence, and when you discuss your achievements, be sure to give credit where credit is due in order to show that you are a team player. Actively listening is very important. Anyone can note, smile, and say right or exactly over and over, but how many people actually listen? Interviews are especially tricky because you do need to be listening to your interviewer's question while mentally preparing your answer. However, if you don't listen well in the first place, you might miss the entire point of the question, and as a result, your answer will fall totally flat. Stay in the moment and don't let yourself zone out. Even if it feels like the interviewer is endlessly tailing on, preparation will help tremendously so you have material ready to discuss and don't have to come up with it all on the spot, mind it. But good listening skills and the ability to stay focused are key. No company wants to hire someone with a bad attitude. No matter how difficult your situation is, don't bring any baggage into the interview room. That means don't badmouth your former employer or any either companies you have been associated with or complain about your personal circumstances. Be natural, expressing reasonable perspectives through a lens of optimism. For example, if you have to talk about a challenging situation, you should mention of how you have helped to solve it and what you learned that made you a better employee. Remember, your body language does not matter as much as your words. Walk in with a smile on your face, offer a firm handshake, and sit up tall at the table, incline slightly forwards to engage in the conversation is really matter. Sometimes it can be helpful to think of an interview as a first date. An air of disinterest, apathy, or monotony will likely turn off an interviewer, as will over-enthusiastic desperation. No matter how much you want or need the job, refrain from acting desirable. Begging has no place in a job interview. The key is to express earnest interest in the role and in the company, and passion for the work you do. Keep in the back of your mind that you are a valuable asset as an employee. Although you should be able to give an elevator pitch in which you introduce yourself, recap your experience, and promote your most valuable professional assets. Make sure you are comfortable talking about yourself beyond that. Know how to discuss both your strength and weakness and emphasize your best qualities and greatest skills while putting a positive spin on your area of improvement. You should also be able to exert some level of control over the conversation. For example, if an interviewer tries to trip you up with a tricky question like, "Have you ever had a bad experience with an employer?" or "Tell me about a time a coworker was unhappy with you," you should be able to answer their question while bridging your response into a positive and idea or example that shows how you learned or cue from that situation. You should also have some questions of your own to ask the interviewer. Don't underestimate the importance of saying thank you. As soon as your interviewer concludes, you should thank your interviewer for their time and for the opportunity to learn more about the position. When you get home, you should always follow up with a thank you email. Otherwise, the interviewer may take your silence as a sign that you are not really interested in the position. So friends, body language tips for your next job interview. Appearance counts during interviews. Not only how you dress, but also how you can carry yourself. Even if your response to questions are flawless, the wrong body language can send the wrong signals and show how you are perceived. Follow my recommendation to project self-assurance and confidence during your next job interview. Put on your confidence even before the interview commences. In the waiting area, have good posture while standing and sitting. Keep your back straight and your chin parallel to the ground. While you may not have met your interviewer at this point, it's still possible that the receptionist or potential future co-workers are observing you. When you sit down to wait, place your briefcase or purse to the left side of your chair. That will reduce awkwardness when you have to shake the interviewer's hand and grab your personal items. Most likely, the handshake will be the only moment of physical contact with the interviewer. Studies says that handshakes play a significant role in first impression, so make it count. Your shake should be rather bone-crushing, nor limp-fish. Aim for a firm handshake, and as you shake, might your eye contact and smile. During the interview, while first impression do count for a lot, it's during your conversation that interviewers will have an extended time to take you in. Your answers to questions are important, as is your posture while listening and responding. Keep these body language tips in mind. First and foremost, no slumping. Keep your back straight. Lean forward slightly to indicate interest. Do not recline back into the chair fully. This can make you seem bored or disengaged. Avoid crossing your arms or placing items in your lap. These habits indicate defensiveness. Mind it. Avoid crossing your arms or placing items in your lap. These habits indicate defensiveness and the need for self-protections when what you would ideally convey during an interview is confidence. Tip: if you are offered a choice of sitting, choose for the straight-backed chair. Luxurious cushioned chairs and couches may be comfortable, but it's hard to sit stylishly within them. Most experts recommend against cross legs. With a long interview, you might need to recross them because your leg is falling asleep. This could come across as jiggling. Do you naturally talk with your hands? Go ahead and let them move during the interview. Stopping the natural gestures may lead to an awkward appearance. Just make sure your motions don't become so enthusiastic that they distract of your words. It's also important to make eye contact during your interview, but don't mistake that for a directive to make constant eye contact that is disturbing and aggressive. At the same time, avoiding eye contact entirely come across as untrustworthy and distant. It could make it seems like your answer is dishonesty. Balance it out. Aim to make eye contact as you listen and respond to questions, but allow it to break occasionally and let your eyes wander. Think, how would I make eye contact if I were chatting with a friend?